Sup, Joe? I guess you can say something about like a Target reference.
From the time I was a junior in high school until my freshman year of college, I used to work at Target. My job that I had was a cart attendant, which means I would walk around the parking lot and bring carts back into the store.
You know what's weird? This specific image looks like the Target that's right next to where I live at. Cause there's a bed, bath. Oh, that's a not a Blockbuster. Wow. How many of you all remember Blockbuster? Because there's a Bed Bath and Beyond right on the right of it. But I can see as you zooming out on the picture on the right side of the screen, I see I think it's a Best Buy. So this is not where that's at. Because Jesus.
I did some other stuff too, but that was basically it. It was a busy Target that I worked at with 2 entrances, so I would always be busy, especially on weekends. On one night, it was a weekday, and it had gotten pretty quiet. I was working a closing shift, which went until 10 p.m., and typically the last hour and a half or so would be really quiet. I was inside doing a restroom check, which was another one of my responsibilities, and then I refilled some of the shopping baskets inside the store. When I was done with those things, it was just about 10, so I went back out to the parking lot for one last time to collect all the remaining carts and bring them in. There really weren't many at all, maybe 10 total carts, but they were spread out across the entire parking lot that we had.
Hell no.
I went out and got them all. And as I was in the far back corner of the parking lot, I noticed there was one last cart in the way back.
I'm going to go ahead and leave that for the opening people for the morning shift for the next day. I'm going to just go ahead and leave that. I'm good. I'm good on all. It's a cart. It's a cart. A homeless person might use it. I live in Georgia. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot of homeless people or less fortunate that I see on a regular basis. And, a good majority of them have carts, shopping carts. You can leave that one for them. I'm sure somebody's going to need it. There's 2 way out there. It's 2 out there. It's too much. Ugh. See, when I start doing too much, I could take it. Let me calm my ass down.
It was literally the very far back corner.
Wow.
And it was pretty far away from the store. I started to walk over to it.
By yourself?
I noticed that there was one car parked close by. The parking lot was almost completely empty, besides the 20 or so cars that belonged to employees that were all parked in the back middle. This one was farther away, and I didn't think anything of this particular car until I realized that there seemed to be somebody in the driver's seat.
You didn't think that having a cart in the way of the back of the parking lot and having a car right next to it, dark as shit. You didn't think that was a problem? No red flags? No flags of any sorts. You didn't think nothing of it. You're a cluck ass for that.
I saw this as I was getting closer. The car was a sort of dark SUV that was relatively big, but I'm not much of a car expert, so beyond that I'm not sure. I had to walk right in front of the car to get the cart, and as I passed by the front of the car, I saw the lights suddenly turn on. I was a little spooked at first by this, but then I just got the cart and started walking back.
A little?
I glanced over to the car and noticed that the driver was staring at me with a really angry look on his face. I thought this was pretty awkward, and I walked pretty quickly back to the store and put the carts away. I don't know why the guy would be mad at me, but from there, I clocked out of work, then left the store and walked to my car.
By yourself?
I always pretty much parked in the same spot in the back middle of the parking lot. When I was approaching my car, though, I now noticed that the car that I had just seen a few minutes earlier was parked directly next to me.
Wow!
This was sort of strange, and I did my best to ignore it and got...
I guess you could say you just playing with your life. I need to play Outlast again. I'm playing.
my car. I then started it up and left as quickly as I could because I didn't want another awkward moment with the guy. But as soon as I did, the car left as well. It didn't take long for me to realize that I was being followed by this guy. Every turn that I made, the car behind me would make as well. As I got close to home and had to take the exit from the highway, the car did the same. I didn't want to go straight home, so instead of turning on my street, I kept going, and then I went into another residential neighborhood and I planned to just drive around. I wasn't really sure what to do and I was getting nervous. I started just driving down random streets and then turning onto the next one and going down that. I was basically just going down every street, and the car followed me through about 4 streets, I would say. As I kept going, it randomly pulled out and sped past me. I heard the engine of the car make a loud roar as it did. After that, they drove away, and when I was sure I couldn't see them anymore, I turned around and went back towards my house. I got home, and then everything was fine. I've always wondered after that, though, why the person followed me and who it was. I also wondered how they knew which car was mine, and why they parked next to my car.
Don't you know, they was watching you the whole time. They probably been in the store too.
I'm a young woman and I shop at Target all the time. I've been going there regularly for years, and luckily, I live near several of them in my city.
Wow.
There used to be one particular Target location that I would go to a lot, but ever since last year, I haven't been back to that one. It was sort of on my way home from my old work, so many nights after my old job, I would stop at that Target after. One night, I had stopped and was doing some shopping. The store was not too busy, but it wasn't dead either. I would say there was an average amount of people there. I was kind of near the back of the store, when suddenly my phone started to ring. I didn't recognize the number, but I'm one of those people who will answer a call from a number I don't recognize.
Not me. Not me! I'm not going to do it. It's a setup.
I picked it up and said hello. I could hear that the person on the other end was a male, but he seemed to be talking in sort of a weird voice. He said hi to me, and I asked who this was. All he said was, "I can see you."
Oh my God.
I asked once again who this was.
What would y'all do in that situation? You know, you just out, you know, just living your life. You out in the store or, you know, just somewhere, you know, just outside. Just, you know, a regular day. You at work or whatever, or you at the grocery store, or you at the, wherever you are. And you get a phone call and you don't recognize it, but hypothetically, just for the, you know, sake of the video, you don't recognize the number, but you answer it anyways. And the person says, "I can see you." What you doing right then and there?
I tried thinking of all my friends who might be playing a joke on me. All he said once again was that he could see me. I laughed a little, knowing that this had to be a joke. But then, the man started talking again. He said I was at Target, and that I was shopping near the electronics, which I was. He then asked me what I was getting. He even described to me what I was wearing at the moment.
Come on.
Now I was sort of creeped out. I didn't know of anybody who knew I was at this Target. Plus,
you either got somebody physically close to you, watching you, or it could be a Target employee on some cluck shit, watching the cameras.
I didn't recognize the guy's voice at all. I asked where he was, and the man on the other end just started to laugh. He then hung up on me. I was now suddenly paranoid. I looked all around me in every direction, but I didn't see anyone. I felt at that point that I should leave because I was suddenly very uncomfortable.
At that point?
I went to the front of the store and walked to the check lanes. I had a few things in my basket and went to the self-checkout. I checked out as quick as I could and then left the store. After that, I haven't been back to that particular Target since. I talked with many of my friends about it, and we think it was probably an employee who had seen me shopping there before. We figured he was either trying to play a joke on me or was actually a real creep. Even if it was a joke, though, it's a pretty creepy joke to play. Either way, I don't know how they got my number, and I hope they never call me again.
The fact that your friends just said that, you should cut all ties.
I worked at a Target during the time period that I was in college. It was a good job for me, and I would work there when I was back home during the summers. In total, I worked there for 3.5 summers, including several winter breaks as well. I was a cashier, and during the summer, some weeks I would work close to 40 hours, so I was there a lot. During the last summer that I worked there, which I only worked there for part of the summer, I was working a 7-hour shift on a Saturday. The 7-hour shifts or longer would require us to clock out for a 30-minute break, and we would also get a paid 15-minute break as well. I took my 15 earlier, and I would always like to save my 30-minute break for closer to the end of my shift, and would usually take it when I had about 2 hours left. We were really busy, and time sort of flew by as people were going through my check lane. Finally, it was time for my 30-minute break. I turned my light off, clocked out, and then bought some food from our deli area. Then I walked to the break room.
Hey, what if somebody noticed you about to turn off your light so you can go ahead and like go and break? But right the second you turn off your light, somebody just slapped they dusty, stinking, horseradish looking Patrick having his hand right on like the moving belt, and it was like, wait, hold on, that's not it. I was like, where you think you going? You better ring me up. And I don't got no groceries.
I had a door sort of near the check lanes at the front end of the store, and a little hallway that led to the break room. I entered it and went inside to see there was nobody else in the break room besides me. I was a little bit surprised to see this, but was happy, because after ringing up customers all day and making small conversations with them, it was nice to have some peace and quiet. I sat there watching the TV in the break room, going on my phone and eating. About 10 minutes in.
If I was ever a cashier, I wouldn't be with the small talk. I wouldn't be with the bullshit. I would just be like, I would be chewing my gum, be like, I'm blowing a bubble. That's $1,287.02. Thank you.
I heard the door to the break room open. I looked, expecting to see an employee, but instead, I saw a guy in a black shirt and jeans who clearly didn't work there.
Oh my God.
He took a couple of steps into the room and then made eye contact.
You know what's crazy? Because I used to work at Publix. It's a grocery store if we don't know. I don't know how everybody else break rooms work, but at least when I was working at Publix, the break room, the one I worked at, it was anybody can just go in there. And I did not like that one bit. You know how many customers thought the break room was a bathroom? First of all bathrooms, at least in America, have some sort of sign on it that indicates it's a restroom. What do you do? What? No. What? Why you open the door? Like, and the fact that you opened the door and saw like a lot of people in here either on the phone, talking, cursing up a storm, talking shit about the customers, eating, doing God knows what else. What do you think? This is not a restaurant. What do you think is good? What? Get your ass out of here.
After he saw me, he immediately turned around and walked away. I figured he was a customer who for some reason got curious and went inside the door that led to our break room. I expected him to walk back into the store, but after about a minute, I never heard the door back to the store open. I couldn't see the hallway from where I was, so I couldn't tell if the man had left or not. I decided to walk over and see. I walked quietly to the hallway and looked down it. I didn't see the man, but I did hear some small movement. There was one small closet in that hallway, and it was sort of a storage closet. It had random stuff in it, mainly cleaning supplies, but it was also used to store things by cart attendants. The door was sort of half open, and I could see that the man was inside. All I could really see was his back, and I don't think he was supposed to be in there, but I just didn't have the nerve to confront him. Instead, I decided to go out and tell my boss, who was a manager. I walked out to the store and found my manager, Sherry. I told her it looked like a random guy was in the store closet. I watched her walk down the hallway, and less than a minute later, she came out and said she was calling the police. I was pretty surprised by this, and both her and I walked to the front and outside the store. The police arrived minutes later, and it became a whole scene. They arrested the man, and as it turns out, he was a former employee. For whatever reason, he had a problem with Sherry, who had been his boss. Apparently, he was going to attack her and was hiding in the closet. These details gave me the chills and blew my mind at the same time. I'm really glad everyone was okay.
I know a Sherry. She was sweet. But then, once we got either off the clock or in the break room, she wasn't so sweet. She was talking so much shit about the customer. It's crazy how much we talk about the customers when they can't hear us, or when they can't see us, or when we talk about it right in front of their face. That was. I hate when people do that. I hate when random people just walk into random rooms. It's I don't know. That was just weird. Yeah, that first one. It was so many things wrong with him. I don't think he should be working at Target. You know, he should be probably working at Nike. You know, because that's where Nike. You know, they with that cluck shit. I don't think Target is. It's kind of weird because like the name Target and it's a Target, whatever. If there's any videos you want me to react to, let me know that in the comment section below. Keep it cool, keep it classy, and I love you. Stay happy, my fam.